It's time to discuss today's top stories with Nick Ferarri and Matthew Wright. Good morning.
Good morning to both of you. It's lovely to see you.
Should we start with this Gillian Keegan story? So this is the Education Secretary. I imagine you've been talking about this a lot on the radio this morning. She's apologised after being caught swearing on camera while expressing frustration about the crumbling concrete crisis in schools. Her mic was still on and she said this. Let's have a look.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone ever say, you know what, you've done a good job because everyone else has sat on their and done nothing? No signs of that, no?
It's interesting. I mean, some people are saying that it was a little bit of a stunt and she knew she was being filmed. What do you think about that, Nick?
Split the listeners this morning on my radio show. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. A lot of people actually say they've got some time for her because she's showing that she has a degree of passion, that she's trying to get something fixed. I mean, just to give it some context, these questionnaires went out to schools in 2022 asking if they might have rack. This is this concrete that can possibly fall apart. So they have been waiting a long time. Some people said it was... For my take, I actually don't have a problem with the minister. I mean, obviously, I'm not condoning the language, but I don't have a problem because... To me, it was, and I know her, and she's a decent one, actually, it was crass stupidity. A camera is not a small thing. These are not as small items. I think the mic is still on her blouse or her jacket. I get her sentiment. She shouldn't have needed language, but this is a terribly frustrating... The most important thing, of course, is that mums and dads who are seeing their children not be able to get to school, that was their reaction, and most of those were pretty angry if their kids' schools are shut.
What do you
think? Often hear, don't we, politicians never say what they really think, and now we know why.
So was it refreshing to see that?
Well, you see, I, unlike Nick, I have next to no problem with the language. In the real world, I hear language like that everywhere I go.
How many newsrooms have you and I worked in where...
My problem is with the apology. She's got nothing to apologise for me with the language. It's being on holiday at the start of this crisis, spending £34 million of our money doing up her offices, introducing nice muted paint shades and a quiet room while schools are crumbling under her watch. Now, she may not feel it's her problem, but it is under her watch. She tried, I think, yesterday to sort of paint the picture that it was councils were letting the side down, and it's interesting to give some balance here. Downing Street put a spokesperson out talking to The Times, and then they sort of said, well, that's not actually our view. So they're sort of trying to ease off her blaming councils. It's just...
But it's a growing problem. I mean, this isn't just going to be schools.
Hospitals, court buildings,
public buildings, exactly.
Possibly homes.
So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Something has to...
The problem is, let's be honest about it, when they were building hospitals or schools, they are going to go for the cheapest option. They have to, and this is a particularly cheap building substance. Now, if it is personally owned, if it's commercial, all the supermarkets will be checking all the time, obviously. Sadly, it would appear we do not have the same level of inspection. But you're right, they've still got about 5% of schools that haven't returned. Personally, sorry to blitz you with numbers, there are 22,000 schools that we're talking about. Currently, just over 150 are closed. I find that actually I hope that number stays there, but you've got to think a few more could be closed. And just lastly, and I'm sure Matthew will support me on this, I find it extraordinary that we can't know the names of those schools. I know they want to tell the parents. I get that, but I do think if I had a grandchild or a niece or I think I have a right to know.
The argument was to avoid panicking people. But actually not telling people is panicking.
Panic.
Of course there are. We don't know about my daughter's school. You know, I was sitting thinking, is it going to be OK, is it not? We've not been told anything, but my surveyor friend tells me the surveyors of this country, there's not enough. They don't know how many buildings have this problem, and they don't know how many years it would take for them to survey them all.
And when there's a crisis, it's ownership, isn't it? It's right. It affects this many schools, this is the schools affected, and this is what we're going to do. Not this, we can't tell you, we might tell you Thursday. That, to me, doesn't work.
And if things had moved earlier, we could have been in a situation where we're not in now.
COVID?
And I'm quite interested in knowing exactly...
You know, a lot of schools closed or very reduced, and builders were still allowed to work. Could have been the perfect opportunity.
It's a very good point.
I'm just interested, did you get any parents online?
Loads.
And what were they saying?
As I say, some said that they supported it because it showed that she cared. I would say possibly they just balanced it, but, well, some even said that she should quit for using that language. I don't buy this, but because school children will start using that language because they saw this important person in education.
School children.
I mean, I think they know those naughty words already, but look, it's not going to go away. But they do need to own it. We do need to know the schools. It's not right that he doesn't know whether his kid is going to a school like that. That can't be right.
Guys, have you heard of skimflation? This is the very first time I've ever heard this.
I'm not
Not
familiar.
skinflation.
Can I turn to my learned colleague on my left?
I thought it was about bikinis, but it's not, is it?
No, more than half shoppers fear that they are falling victim to skinflation. So this is basically when products are reduced in quality but not in price. And we've seen this with sweets, chocolates, cakes, biscuits. What do you think? Do you think the quality is going down?
I think both the quantities of ingredients and the quality of ingredients is changing and has changed. It's interesting, it doesn't mention anywhere in the article why we're in this situation. Anyone will take a guess? It all seemed fine before we voted to leave the European Union. Since that, the quality of food has gone down, I would say.
It's financially motivated, isn't it? That
I
they're
would
saving,
say...
cutting corners and saving.
Yeah, if they can give me a packet of hula hoops or quavers or crisps and they know, you know, they knock 10 out and it makes the same price, I would have thought that. And the same with a chocolate bar, if you normally have 5 fingers of whatever or whatever.
Different. I think chocolate is this morning. There's certain things that I've tried, and I've before I seen this article and stuff, and I was like, is it starting to taste different? Not all of them. Right. But occasionally.
Do you reckon they're cutting corners in certain places?
For God's sake, don't name one.
No.
Be a national crisis.
If you're running, say, a pub that does food against a background of the nightmare that was COVID, the debts you've accrued, the cost of your energy bills, I have absolute sympathy with someone running a pub trying to find a way of providing food at an almost affordable price with decent-ish ingredients.
But not someone who's making a smaller tub of toothpaste or a packet of crisps and charging the same. No sympathy there. No.
And do you think maybe restaurants should be maybe a little bit more upfront with that, though?
I think anything they can do to stay afloat at the moment, it's damn tough.
Like that too.
I mean, no, you can't completely con the customer, of course. By the way, if you do that, they won't come back and your business will close. But I mean, we haven't even referenced, it's difficult to hire staff now if you're running. And then you've got all the overheads and the count. Listen, if they can cut back in some way, let's keep our pubs and restaurants. It's a massive employer house and millions of people employed in the sector. Millions.
This is quite a really sad story, actually. A study of more than 56,000 people around the world were asked to respond to statements about their body image. Out of 65 countries surveyed, Britain came third from bottom for body appreciation, with only Australia and India graded lower. So this is that body appreciation, we compare ourselves too much, and that we see lumps and bumps, and that they're not, as the media projects, that we're not that ideal. I mean, you sort of think that we're actually quite good at promoting body positivity nowadays, but you look at this and you think, God, we haven't gone anywhere with that.
Keyword. So, Matthew, after you go.
Well, I was going to say, I just think it's very difficult that in this country we have very high-pressure marketing, high-pressured advertising. Shows can do really good jobs of promoting positive body image. This one does. But you're still in a world or an environment that pushes very negative images, you know, ridiculous thinness, a lot of plastic surgery and stuff.
Like even high-end fashion and stuff now, I feel like there is a shift. Maybe not enough, but I do
see the outfit that the woman wearing the suit, which is a suit jacket and then a kind of pair of pants. I mean, that's...
But that's her shape.
It's her shape.
That is her shape.
It's not going to be great for everybody else, though, is it? It's the fashion industry sort of going for sort of the wavy things.
The key word, I think, from what your introduction was nowadays. I think we have improved enormously. But he and I were on newspapers, I'm ashamed to say, where it was pictures were airbrushed, people made it impossibly, ridiculously slim that no girl or boy actually could attain. So it's going to take a long time for that to wash through. To your point, I think we're a lot better at it, but there's still a heck of a lot of, really a history to put right that will take some time.
They've also linked this with mental health.
Yes, absolutely.
I've found, in my experience, that you can have all the right positive attitudes in the world, but as soon as you have a mental health problem, they go out the window. So I used to exercise and be outside a lot more, and as soon as I started feeling ill, I just wanted to stay indoors. So there's a double-edged sword, telling people you've got to love your lumps and bumps, but when they don't feel good about themselves and they don't like the lumps and bumps, we're now making them feel maybe guilty about that, which is adding to the problems.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just embrace...
You and I now? Yeah. I'm absolutely... I don't know which camera you want to do... but I'm absolutely up for that.
Donovan's waiting up. Not again, Alison. You're on fire today.
I'm so glad I came now. Normally I'm at the other studios. I'm so happy.
I just think, you know, you get to a certain age in life and you just think... This is me.
I agree.
Love it.
I know.
Embrace them love handles.
Yep.
Embrace that fupa.
When I arrived at yours in my thong...
Have you not heard of a fupa?
Is it...
Fupa's your big stomach at the front.
Fupa?
What is it?
Yeah, I call it a fupa.
I'm trying to work out what's the combination of it.
You guys probably haven't heard of a fupa because you ain't got one. All right? Nick, maybe
You can take the maybe out of that. You can take the maybe out of that. Can we compare?
Getting all proposals today, aren't I?
I tell you what, I'll bring you down to earth.
Here we go.
Let's talk about arguing, shall we?
Yes.
And actually, this is quite a lovely thing. We had Sex Pistol legend John Lydon talking about his wife before she passed away, actually, and it was very emotional.
44 years married.
I know, 44 years married. Real, true love, actually, these two. And he's been speaking about after recently losing her after a 2-year battle with Alzheimer's. And he says, it was a warm and loving marriage. The thing people ask is, what kept you together? Blooming good argument. Absolutely. Just throw it out there, pots and pans. And we're talking about this in our phone, and with Deirdre a little bit later. She looked a bit kind of like perturbed at the idea of arguing. However, is it a good thing? Is it a good thing to get things off your chest?
Well, I've been married twice. First marriage, we had quite a lot of arguments. We were very passionate right from the beginning, enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Didn't last very long. Current marriage, lifelong marriage, 15 years nearly, and we don't really argue very much at all. Although this today, I said to her, John Lydon from the Sex Pistols says, you know, arguing is good. She says, well, no, it isn't. I said, yes, it is. It's John Lydon from the Sex Pistols. You've got to listen to this. I never liked him anyway. I just preferred The Clash. And so that's because you don't know anything about music.
And then it was like,
yeah, and then I came here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Better though.
Oh, much better, yeah, purge.
We certainly argued, and it didn't last. But I'm with a woman now. She just won't argue. She is absolutely non-confrontational.
I don't think I'd argue with you either, though. I don't think I'd win.
No, she's so to his point, I think it's right, but it's the level of argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that you just nod each to each other very happily when you come in here. That was a particularly nice banana bread last night. Yes, thank you very much indeed. There's not the sort of frisson that you probably want, but it's the level of argument, which I think possibly poor old Matthew endured the first time out.
I think how you recover as well, as long as you can recover from a good argument.
Kiss and make up.
Yeah, not go to sleep without a nice
That's
little
good
kiss.
advice.
Yes.
I don't think you should go to bed on an argument.
Yeah.
Make up cuddly wuddly.
Exactly.
Is there any other form? I don't know if there's any other.
Can I ask, do you find when you finish work that you don't want to argue because you've done it on the radio?
And then,
Oh, that might be it.
That's quite true.
That might be it, yes. It's kind of therapy I'm on.
Yeah.
Both of you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely
Good luck.
to
Have a
see you.
good day. Good luck tonight.
Good luck
Thank
tonight.
Good luck, you.
And you, yeah.